Going to prison really saved my life.
Those surprising words were spoken by Lynard Joiner during my first video interview for Justice Voices in March 2019. Mr. Joiner and I first met over 20 years ago on opposite sides of a federal courtroom. He was a defendant, and I was the prosecutor. He was convicted and served 17 years in prison. Now we're friends and colleagues. In fact, I serve as a board member of a service organization he founded for citizens returning home from prison named Shifting into New Gear, or SING for short. Welcome to Episode 1 of Justice Voices. I'm your host, David Risley. The following is a preview of his full interview in the form of a series of short excerpts of a few highlights. I hope they convince you to watch the full interview. Once you start, you probably won't be able to stop. Lynard Joiner is a remarkable man. I'm privileged to know him. I'd like for you to get to know him too. His story deserves to be told. His voice needs to be heard.
What I mean by going to prison saved my life, because if I hadn't went to prison, there's a good chance that something worse could have happened to me. Because when you're a drug dealer, you doesn't only put yourself in harm's way, you put your family in harm's way as well. It's dangerous, but selling drugs is also addiction. You become addiction to selling the drug. When I first got out, it was tough for me. They had what we call a cell phone when I first got out. I didn't even know how to work a cell phone, because when I went in, we had pages. But when I got out, they got cell phone. A little 4-year-old child showed me how to work a cell phone. It took me about a year to find a job, I think. But once I got a job, they let me work for a little while. Then they fired me because I had a criminal background. It definitely took faith. One thing about me, I was always raised up to trust God, to believe in God. My mother used to always take us to church, and as I got older and started living with my dad, even when I was selling drugs, I went to church, knowing that, hey, this is wrong. But one thing I believe that God show us different signs. Even God was talking to me. You know, there's a sign that God trying to tell us something. At this time, God was showing me so many different signs. Hey, just not what you want to do. Well, there's a program that I came up with called SING. SING, like I said earlier, is an acronym for Shifting into New Gear. When you come out of prison, you have to shift into a whole new gear. You can't come out here thinking nobody owe you nothing. And in order for you to succeed out here, you need people that are going to be willing to give you a chance. And our mission at SING is to provide them with a roadmap of service and resources that help them to readjust and redirect their life and be successful in the community. Right now, we have served over 324 individuals. All of the individuals right now, if you was to ask me what would be our success rate right now, with the individual, we have like a 94% success rate. Most of the individuals that come through this program do not return back to prison, because we prepare them with the thing they need to succeed in life. And one of the most important things is employment. Employment is key to successful reentry, because if I have no money, no food, nowhere to live or nothing, guess what? I revert back into what I know to be best. We go into what we call surviving mode. At this time, I have 42 individuals who have been prosecuted by you. And we make a joke out of Mr. Risley, we all have something in common. Mr. Risley prosecute us all. My mission for this program is just right here to be able to serve more people, to be able to offer more resource and service to the individual, and to help our community, our city, our state, and our prison population to be reduced. Well, I'm a firm believer that everybody deserves a second chance. No one are exempt from making a bad choice in life.
When I shared the video of my full interview with a friend of mine who's a retired Illinois State Police major, He called me the next day and said he'd watched it twice, all hour and 15 minutes of it. I lost count of how many times he told me it was impactful. He said it should be watched by everyone, including police trainees. It provides valuable perspective. I want you to watch the full interview, which was totally unrehearsed, because Mr. Joiner's story sheds light on important criminal justice policy issues far better than I could convey in any talking head lecture, even speaking as a former career federal prosecutor and former director of public safety policy in the Illinois governor's office. In fact, it was while I was working in the governor's office that Mr. Joiner and I reconnected after he got out of prison and started his SING program. I think you'll enjoy hearing that story too. The full video is linked below and indexed by time code. So even if you don't have enough time to watch it all at once in one sitting, you can always return and pick up where you left off. Hit the like and subscribe buttons so you don't miss any future episodes of Justice Voices, featuring stories that need to be told, voices that need to be heard.